name is Jeff, and welcome to episode 74 of the Game Sharks podcast, where we talk about our least favorite thing in the world, technical difficulties. I sure love when OBS decides to completely freeze and corrupt my video recording file. Unfortunately, it happened during our break, so we have lost the entire first hour and a half of this episode of the podcast, which I thought was going really well. Luckily for you, the listeners, will still be able to hear the main topic, which is our Resident Evil 8 Spoilercast.
And even luckier for the live Twitch viewers who actually heard it.
Live Twitch viewers, you got to see the forgotten to time conversations that we had.
They can be witnessed in a court of law to prove that conversation actually happened.
Jose has helped me set up. Help me. He told me about how I can set up. There's a button I can click so that Twitch saves my last couple videos, or I think it's 14 days. So if this ever happens again, we can at least salvage something. So yeah, unfortunately, you learn as you go. But here we are. I'm going to give a quick rundown of all of the news we talked about. Little to no discussion. And then I'm going to quickly, everyone can just talk about what they're playing, maybe sum it up in a sentence or two, just so that's out there in some form. All right, Andrew got these weird things in the mail. If you're watching the video, you can see them here. The internet blew up. There was a subreddit created that things just say they're coming. They're alien themed. After doing a bunch of research, the subreddit has determined it's just teasing the next Fortnite season. So what could have been a cool ARG ended up being a little bit disappointing. We got release dates for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. They're coming out November 19th. We got a release date for Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is coming out January 28th of 2022. We are very nervous about that because it didn't look very good when they showed it to us last time, and that's still pretty soon. Roger Craig Smith is returning to be the voice actor for Sonic the Hedgehog because we think Ben Schwartz wanted too much money, but Derek seems to think Ben Schwartz is just a good guy and said, no, give it back to that guy. He did a really good job for like a decade plus. Dragon Quest III is getting remade in the Octopath Traveler style, and Dragon Quest XII got announced. I'm excited for both of these. I'm going to play both of these. There's loose excitement from everybody else. There's a rumor that there's going to be a Final Fantasy Souls game.
Spin-off?
Yeah, spin-off Souls game made by the people who made Nioh. It's going to be a PS5 exclusive. If that's true, it's going to be sweet. Supposedly, it's going to be announced at E3, so we only have a couple weeks to wait for that. Portal movie's still in development. J.J. Abrams is bad at managing projects, but he has decent vision for films, so we'll see how that ends up. We don't think it's going to translate into film very well. The Horizon State of Play happened. Didn't give us a release date, and it just showed some more footage. Looks like more Horizon, which is a good thing. But
it's also the most beautiful game ever made.
That too.
Visually.
There's a Sonic 30th anniversary event where they announced a Sonic collection of the original 4 games where you can play Sonic in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. They're remastering Sonic Colors called Sonic Colors Ultimate, and they teased a new 3D Sonic game, and no one knows anything about it. And we were all like, why show us this? Because we don't. Of course you're working on a new Sonic game. You're Team Sonic. That's the name of your development company. Nintendo has made a sponsorship with Play Versus to have high school Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Splatoon 2 leagues, which is really cool. We were born in the wrong decade because I wanted to be a high school esports player, and it wasn't a thing when I was in high school. And the Switch Pro is getting the final big rumor. Apparently, it's going to be announced in the next couple of weeks before E3 so that developers who are working on things for the Switch Pro can talk about it during E3. We decided this is all or nothing. If it doesn't get announced here in this upcoming weeks too, or at E3, then it's probably not happening for a while. So yeah, that was all the news. Again, I'm mad that we lost it all. What we've been playing lately. Adam started playing Biomutant. Adam, what do you want to quickly say about Biomutant? Real quick, couple sentences.
It's very interesting. I'm having fun with it so far. I know all the reviews on it are mixed. And after delving into some of the Steam reviews with my friend, pretty much people are getting butthurt about small things that ruin the game for them. So,
all right, Jose. He's been playing the Monster Hunter Rise update. You said that you're liking it quite a bit. It gives it a definitive ending, right?
Yeah, it ties together the ending. It shows the Elder Dragons finally doing their thing, and we even get an old monster returning, so that's cool.
Right on. He's also been playing Neo 2, and he's enjoying that. I talked about Returnal. I finally started that. I have some criticisms about its pacing and its the length of its runs takes away from the natural trial and error of roguelikes, in my opinion. But Derek and Andrew assured me that as I get farther into the game, that will become less of an issue. So I'm looking forward to playing that more. Derek talked about. What did you talk about?
The Mass Effect.
Derek talked about the Mass Effect collection. He's happy that he's playing it, and it's how he remembered the game looking, even though that's not what it looked like when he played it originally. Andrew hasn't played that in the last week. Andrew's been playing Portal. He played a bunch of COD Zombies with his old friend and said that the COD Zombies in which version was it?
Cold War.
Cold War is the best COD Zombies potentially out of all of them. And he started Outriders, and he's kind of bored with it. He literally fell asleep.
He's not bored. He just fell asleep because he was tired.
Yeah, my falling asleep was not related to the quality of the game. It just happened to be during it.
And then Slay the Spire is still the best roguelike in my heart.
Also, Knockout City.
Also, Andrew's playing Knockout City. That's right. And we're going to play that as a group in the next week, so we can talk about it on next episode. All right, so there's your quick, what have we got in the time? 8-minute summary of the last hour and a half that we spent. God damn it.
We're good at this, guys.
Hey, I feel like we only have one very severe technical issue every 6 months, so we're not doing.
It's funny that earlier I had said, "And don't delete the episode," and then it totally happened.
But I didn't delete it. That one time, you
only deleted half the episode this time.
No, that first time I literally deleted the episode. I scrolled over and hit the delete button just out of a weird habit. Whereas this time my computer just froze and then corrupted my file. So there's nothing I can do about that. All right.
No, Andrew.
We now have contingencies going forward to avoid this.
We do. Well, we have some backups and maybe another backup. We have a couple backups. If you want, I can post all of my locally recorded audio of the first hour and a half if that's interesting to you guys. But I don't imagine that it would be. Okay. Let's do it. Resident Evil Village. We've all played it. We've all beaten it. And we all have some thoughts on this game. How do we want to start? Do we want to start by doing a quick rundown of the story of this game? Or do we want to save that for later because it gets kind of weird at the end and that's going to spin off into its own weird conversation? How do we feel about
I kind of feel we should just go through the game and talk about, because with the way it was structured with the four lords, we can kind of talk about each section individually, start from the beginning. And
I'm fine with that. So you want to talk about the gameplay mechanics as we go through the game itself?
Yeah, because
all right.
I think that's going to be a more organic way to discuss this. That we're not jumping all over the place.
All right. So we'll start at the very beginning of the game. This is a direct sequel to Resident Evil 7. You are still playing as Ethan Winters, arguably one of the worst protagonists in all of video games, but we will get to more on that later for sure.
Oh my god.
So, game starts. Ethan has a baby with his wife, Mia. The baby's name is Rosemary. They call her Rose for short. They are a happy family with, their normal family squabbles and the memories of, a terrible mutated family in Louisiana torturing them. And then suddenly Chris Redfield appears and shoots his wife in the head and steals his baby. Knocks him out and takes him with them. And then, surprise, you're in some weird Eastern European village. I think it's supposed to be based on, Romania. And then...
All right, so I think we should also mention in here that wasn't it, implied that they got relocated after the whole Louisiana thing?
Yes, I think
they're already in Europe.
Yeah, they were already
there.
there.
At the beginning of it, they were in Europe. That they were like secluded off doing their own thing. That is right. Thank you, Adam.
It's implied too that like Ethan's been undergoing training
they sprinkled in that military training line to explain why
he's suddenly like better at using guns, because weren't a lot of the weapons in 7 like improvised almost?
Yeah, you had
there was a pistol, a shotgun, a flamethrower.
They were just normal
launcher,
Yeah, I don't
know. Like normal
stuff
like, you'd find.
It wasn't as much of a military arsenal as you have.
A grenade launcher, stuff you'll find lying around.
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
So he is then thrust into this village in what we're gonna call Romania. He runs into some locals who are losing their minds. They're freaking out. No one's around at first. Then he runs into these locals, and they're like, "Yo, shit's bad, man. It's bad." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And then one of the dudes
he actually said, "What's going on?"
You meet this woman, and she kind of takes you in. She trusts you, and you get into this room with all these people who like appear to be the only remaining survivors in this village. Then what ends up happening is one of the dudes, actually that woman's father.
Father. His father.
He transforms into a lichen, which is a variant of a werewolf, and he starts to eat people, and they all die.
And the house burns down.
And the house burns down, and everyone dies. You are
and then she sacrifices herself in a very cliche movie moment.
Yes. Where it's like, I have to go back and save my father, who's this monster.
No, you really don't.
He's like, she's gone, but my father. And then she like, there's that moment where she changes her mind. She's like, you're right, it's not worth it. And then she falls into the fire and dies.
I totally thought she was going to come back.
Oh, no, you never see this woman again.
She's dead. Back. She fell into fire. She's pretty much dead.
It was actually her all along.
Like, I don't know, as like some kind of weird, either like a creation, or I thought she was going to come back in some way, but I'm kind of glad she didn't.
You are then thrust into the equivalent of that opening scene in Resident Evil 4 when you get to that little village for the first time, and it's like, okay, there's guys everywhere. You do not have the firepower or the ammo for this, so just kind of like run around and survive. And then I think it's a similar thing happens where like a bell rings and they all, or like a howl, like they hear like a lichen howl or something, and they all just kind of like look up and run away. But it's like almost identical feeling to that Resident Evil 4 scene, which is like one of the most iconic like openings to a video game. What did you guys feel about that? Did you feel like, oh, I've done this before and it's not as special, or did you think it was cool?
4 was the only one I had played before this, so like I'm going through thinking, okay, I can handle this. I got enough bullets. I got my handgun. Like, oh, there are too many of them. Yeah. Then it eventually starts to click in, like, oh, I'm not supposed to win this.
Yeah, I think I shot like 2 of them before I was like, oh, they're just doing that Resident Evil 4 thing again. So then I didn't bother fighting anyone, and I just kind of sprinted around knowing like none of them are gonna have the AI to kill me here because the game wants to just try to scare me, and then they're all gonna leave. I was pretty confident in that, and like I was like, there might be a chance that I'm just wrong and I'm just gonna get eaten alive. But you said you panicked, Jose.
I was panicking so bad that entire sequence. I wasted all of my fucking ammo.
Did you ever play Resident Evil 4?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so you weren't familiar with
I wasn't familiar at all. I just saw lichens running at me, and I was like, oh god, I gotta start unloading. And I just kept shotting everybody until it finally sank in. It's like, oh wait, that guy's really big, and there's a lot of them. I probably shouldn't be shooting. How much ammo do I have left? And then I look at my inventory, it's empty. I just have the gun.
It's funny you say your mind went to 4, Jeff, because and also that being the last Resident Evil game you played, because my mind immediately went to 2, and my thinking of, oh, I don't have to kill these guys. Like, I can just run to the next area. Like, I can just try to get through here. I don't have to worry about killing them. I didn't even think about what you were saying about that whole, the whole village segment in the beginning of 4, and you're totally right. It is literally that. It's just like, complete this segment without like they're not really
just
gonna
stay
kill
alive
you
for X amount of time, and then they'll all leave,
and then they'll eventually go away. Yeah, I was completely like, oh yeah, I don't have to kill every enemy in this game. Like, I gotta conserve ammo. Like, so I'm just gonna shoot the ones that look like they might get too close to me, and I'll try to make it to where I need to go or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt pretty neutral about it. I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is a cool nod. I know what you're doing. I'm not scared. It's not instilling me with the fear that you want it to because I know what you're doing." But regardless, it was cool. I believe at this point, Ethan gets captured. I don't remember exactly how he gets to.
I think he starts.
Does he start to go to the castle?
He
gets
goes
into
into
the
the
castle.
castle and he
And
sees Heisenberg, and Heisenberg uses his Magneto powers and traps him.
So he ends up getting kidnapped by this guy. We don't really know anything about him, and this is when we're introduced to Lady Miranda and the 4 lords of the village.
I think we should also note at this point, Ethan's only concern is where the hell is his 6-month-old daughter?
Yeah, so that's Ethan's whole journey.
His only concern the whole time.
Yeah, he's like, my wife is dead. They took my baby. I gotta get my baby back. Where's Chris? And he keeps saying, because Chris is the last person that he saw. So he's then introduced to the 4 lords and their ruler, Lady Miranda. Basically, we have Lady Demetrice, who is the tall, sexy vampire lady who lives in the castle. We have
Heisenberg.
I was trying to think of the one that you guys didn't say. I forgot her name. Benevento.
Beneviento.
No, it's because it's House Beneviento.
What's her first name?
Her name is
I don't
something
remember her
else.
first
I think
name.
it's Donna.
Creepy doll.
Yeah,
girl.
no, Donna.
Donna
you're right.
Benevento.
But all you see is the creepy marionette doll.
Yes. So she's basically like a puppet master almost. And yeah, we'll get more into them like in their specifics later when we get to their parts of the game. And then you have Salvatore Moreau.
Yeah,
who's
Moreau,
like
that's
this?
right.
He's like this fish man. And then you have Carl Heisenberg, who is this crazy guy who can control metal like Magneto.
Is his first name Carl?
His first name is
Yes.
Carl with a K.
amazing.
I didn't notice that.
And then
Honestly,
it's not
missed
Lady Miranda,
opportunity.
it's Mother Miranda. I just wanted to.
Mother Miranda, yes.
Mother Miranda and the Funky Bunch, yes.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity for Heisenberg to, at any point, say, "Yeah, bitch, magnets."
Or for him to say my name.
Yeah.
You're Heisenberg.
I am the danger.
Funny enough.
So basically, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I today just finished rewatching Breaking Bad.
Oh,
so that's funny.
Perfect.
Nice.
So at this point, you're introduced to these 4 lords. You realize like they know you. They're like, Ethan Winters, and you're like, why do you know who this random boring white dude is?
And Ethan is like, I don't care who the fuck you are, just give me my daughter.
Yeah, the natural response when you're being interrogated by these 5 monsters. And then basically, what happens? Mother Miranda declares that Heisenberg can take Ethan and do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah, and then initiate chase scene through the caves, being attacked by Lycans.
Ethan ends up escaping, running away, and he ends
with
up
his hands like this.
Yeah.
He ends like this. Sorry, because at this point his fingers had been bitten off, right?
It's worth noting he lost his two
fingers.
So he goes through the whole game with only 3 fingers on his left hand. It gets bitten off by a Lycan in that previous Resident Evil 4 scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he goes to he ends up in the basement of Castle Demetrice, if I recall correctly, right?
No, he ends up on the outside of it.
Oh, he's on the outside?
I thought you ended up in like the wine cellar or whatever.
You're in the wine cellar and you go right back up to the
because this is where you have your meeting with Lady Demetrice. She runs into you, and the most fucking insane dumb thing happens where she cuts off your hand. Remember? You go to pull the lever down. That's not here?
That's like
later.
halfway through.
Way later. Yeah.
Is it?
This is when you run into the Duke.
Yeah, this is the first
on the
Duke
outside
meeting.
of the castle.
Oh.
You're outside of the castle. Yeah.
So we are introduced to the Duke, who is this version, or this game's version of the Resident Evil 4 merchant, except for he's this very large man who sits in the back of, like, just a wagon, and he sells his goods.
Yeah.
I love the Duke. I think he's a really fun, cool character. The way he just, like, the way he goes about talking to Ethan, and Ethan's just like, who are you? And he's like, I don't know. Buy my goods. You call me the Duke.
Did you ever hear the voice line?
I never heard it.
Ah, did any of you guys hear it?
Yeah, I did.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention in that moment or if it's just randomly triggered and I just didn't get it.
I want to say it's randomly triggered. He
said it a couple of times for me.
I never got it once, which really bummed me out because I was like waiting for it. The line being, he says, "What are you buying?" Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
An old friend of mine used to say that, which is a direct. He's talking about the merchant from Resident Evil 4, which is just really fun. All right, so you meet the Duke, and then you go into Castle Dimitris, and basically you're just exploring this castle. And this is the point where the game starts to feel like, so throughout this game, I feel like each section in each of the lords has their own biome or area, and they each kind of feel like a different Resident Evil game. And I felt like
I agree.
I felt like the castle, Lady Dimitris's castle, felt like traditional Resident Evil 1 or like even the beginning of Resident Evil 2. You're in a literal mansion, and it's just about exploring this mansion, puzzle solving, and it's less about the encounters. There aren't like a ton of frequent encounters. There's like small clusters of like, I think they're like I think these are weird like zombies, but like
it's heavily
Eastern
implied that
Europe,
these are
they're like Draugr. It's not like a biological zombie so much as like a raised from the dead.
As like what's the word for like a not vampire, like a dreg?
A daywalker?
Maybe? Not a daywalker. They're like the vampire slaves.
Yeah, it's like
but not
Damphir?
Huh?
Damphir?
Maybe?
I have no idea. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the proper word for it, but they're basically like lesser vampires.
It should also be noted at this point we've met Lady Dimitris's 3 daughters, who are entirely composed of bugs.
Yeah, so they have they have this weird thing to them where if you read all the logs throughout the castle, basically Lady Dimitris was experimenting on like some maidens who worked at the castle and was able to turn 3 of these women into these weird like vampires who are also, their bodies are just bugs. And the bugs can, if like they fully form, they can shape them in like their human form, but then they can disperse into just a mist of bugs.
Yes, they are each a mass of bugs who, when combined, believe they are the 3 women.
Yeah.
Like spiders, man.
Yes, like spiders, man. A collection of millions of spiders that believe they are Peter Parker.
Yes. So you are exploring the castle. You learn that these bug vampire ladies are weak to the cold. So you end up fighting all 3 of them in different locations in the castle.
Is that what it was? I thought they were just weak to daylight.
No, they're weak to cold.
It's simply the cold because their bodies are insects, so they can't.
I never made a mental connection to it. I was just like, I need to open the windows.
Oh no, there's they talk about it in some of the logs that like the bugs can't stand the cold.
Yeah, there's like some journals that explain like what they went through and what kind of like specific mosquito they are, and in one of the excerpts it says they're like incredibly weak to the cold, like they hibernate to the point of death. I think that's what it said.
Andrew, I'm getting the feeling that you do not read any in-game log in any
I
video game
absolutely
ever.
I read like all of the in-game logs in Resident Evil, and I just must have missed these ones.
So I feel like we've had this conversation, like when we were talking about KOTOR. You're like, yeah, I didn't read shit. I feel like you've said that on several occasions.
Generally, yeah. There's sometimes it depends. You know, like I get in like zones sometimes where I'm like, yeah. I just want to get through this. But like Resident Evil, I take my time. Read shit. I read everything in Resident Evil 4 that I found. I read everything in Resident Evil 7 that I found. Same thing with this one. I just happened to not find this.
Gotcha. So yeah, they're weak to the cold. You kill the 3 daughters, and then is this at the point where Lady D cuts your arm off?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're running around the basement because at this point, Lady Dimitris has started stalking you around the castle.
Yeah,
she turns
into Nemesis. She turns into Mr. X, and she's just the big, like, menacing entity that is continuously following you throughout the castle.
Hurt her. You can't kill her.
You just have to run away from her. There's no.
Yeah, and there's this, and then there's
it was great.
Yeah, it was very, very fun. Like that was classic Resident Evil.
Yeah, for sure.
And then yes, as Jeff's alluding to, the next thing you see is you're pulling down on a lever, and she just lobs your forearm off.
And it does that classic thing in the movies where like it just hangs there for a second. It's like a samurai movie. It just hangs there for a second, and then you just see it, but the hand is still holding onto the lever, and your arm sinks down. And then you continue running away from her. Eventually, you like have to basically lose her and come back to there, pull your arm off the lever, and then run up the stairs. And then it does the classic Ethan Winters thing where he just pours a bottle of medical goo on his arm and he puts his severed arm back on and it just fuses together and works.
This is where the game lost me.
And we were talking about this
before.
before.
This is where I checked out.
This kind of shit happened in Resident Evil. In
He did
7.
it in 7. Yeah, he puts his leg back on.
Does he? I do not remember that.
Yeah, no, this
He
happens
puts
in
both
7 too.
He puts his leg back on.
And even if like you have the argument of like, because he gets his arm cut off in 7 too, but even if you have the argument of like he had stitches, it's like, come on, you can't just stitch an arm on and have it work perfectly.
This is the point, because I didn't play 7, so this is the part where I'm realizing, okay, A, I'm pretty sure that's not how medicine works, and B, something's up with this guy.
Yeah, I was like, they're full going for it, and I love this. I think this is so stupid in the best way.
So it's like, it was that moment where you first start thinking, okay, there's something weird about him. He's got something going on. I don't know what yet. And we'll get more on that later.
So you continue to go to the castle, you find your way all the way to the top, and you end up fighting Lady Demetrice, who you stab her with this ancient poisonous dagger that you find.
Oh yeah,
just sitting in a coffin,
and like
it's fine.
She transforms into this weird dragon thing, and it turned into like classic insane stupid Resident Evil boss, which I was a little bit sad you didn't just get to full on fight her in sexy vampire form.
Yeah, I was disappointed by that too. I was like, oh, like I know that this is a thing that Resident Evil does, but I would have much preferred a boss fight against her.
Yeah,
instead of like just grotesqueness for the sake of it.
Like, isn't her body like kind of growing out of, or isn't
Yeah,
part of
so
her like
that's-
growing out of the dragon?
yeah,
it's like her entire
yeah,
lower
top.
body turns
and
into a dragon.
She
and
does the whole like this is my perfect form thing.
Yeah.
Like you've pushed me to being my best form. So then you fight Dragon Lady D. What's up, Andrew?
So I just watched the cutscene where Ethan's leg gets severed in 7. That cutscene straight up did not happen to me. I did not get that cutscene.
Really?
What? Okay.
I've played this through both of these games without knowing that ever happened. This would have changed everything.
Because you would have seen it before, and you'd be like, "Oh, this again."
Yeah.
So yeah. You kill Lady Demetrice, and then you go down and you collect this vial, or like this like. I don't know.
Like
it's like a
square
prism
crystal
Container.
Yeah.
and
you don't know what it is yet. You just know it's on a pedestal. It's probably important.
Yeah, so you take this thing and you go back to the village, which it's like the hub world basically, and all these other areas are branching off the village. So you find yourself coming back here and doing things. And the game has like Metroidvania aspects to it, or it's more like Zelda, like when you get the boomerang in Zelda, and then you're like, oh, I can finally get that heart piece that I saw before, because it's not like your progression is gated by finding these new items. It's like you can get new upgrades and collectibles. So like you get a crank for wells, and then you get this like thing where you can lower bridges and stuff
I
of
feel
that
like
nature.
It's unfair trying to compare it to other games when it's literally what all of the games have always been doing for like at least the first few games. Like it's a Resident Evil thing.
I felt like it was never to this degree though, because like
Oh, yeah.
there's never been like a hub world like this in Resident Evil. It's like
I guess there hasn't been a hub world, but in the sense that like you're constantly throughout the game, you're going to get more upgrade, like find these things that allow you to access other places in the mansions or in the police station in 2 or
but
I
those
guess
were all
in 4
confined within a small space where it's like there was a thing I would see at hour 1 in the village that I wouldn't be able to access till like hour 7 once I unlocked this one particular thing. Like you don't never go that long before being able to access something.
This time they did it on a larger scale. You know?
Which I thought was cool.
I liked it.
It's always that like that dopamine hit of like, oh yeah, I got the thing, and now I can go collect the thing. So you take this container this mysterious container, and you show it to the Duke, and you're like, the Duke, this mysterious large man who sells me goods, what is this? And he's like, I don't know, rub the dirt off the label. And you rub the dirt off the label, and it just says Rose's head or something along those lines. Turns out your baby has been dismembered and separated into several different containers, and your baby's head is in this container.
Like she was like crystallized and then put in these separate spots.
I don't
And then
think
at
they
this-
talk
at this
about that she was
point-
crystallized. I think
It was like that's the sense I got out of it.
And then
I
at
always-
this point, Ethan does not say, "Oh, well, fuck, my daughter is in literal pieces. That must mean it's over." He doesn't have a mental breakdown. Doesn't show like signs of anguish or anything. He's just like, "Well, I gotta find the rest of them now."
what were you gonna say, Jose?
Now, I always like got the impression that she was crystallized first, because from what it looked like in the container, it looked like it wasn't like flesh. It looked like crystal.
Gotcha.
But that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I guess that was lost on me. I didn't notice that. I just assumed they just chopped her up and put her in vials. So the Duke basically explains like, yeah, each of the 4 lords have a piece of your daughter. Go get them. And then you proceed to do just that. So
And it's vaguely like, at this point you're also getting the sense that Miranda wants your daughter for something, and that she's been separated
they had
for
her-
a purpose.
They
yeah,
referred to your daughter as having some power,
she's very
and
special. She's
you're
very
like-
important to.
and like, of course, Ethan never questions this. He's just like, "Okay, yeah, whatever. Give me my daughter."
So
I mean, to be fair, the dude saw some shit in Louisiana where he's just not questioning it anymore.
it's true. So basically there's this like master key that you're building throughout the game. Like you have the base of it, and then you like put a piece on, then it can open all the doors with like 2 wings on it, and then you put another piece on, it can open all the doors with 4 wings. So this is how it's gating you from your progression. Like at first you're like, oh cool, like this is gonna like unlock new areas where like I can explore more, but it literally just unlocks the next
Yeah.
like lords section. It's not like more of the hub world.
My roommate's girlfriend was watching me play around this time, and when I first got to that one central area where there's the multiple doors, and one of them says like 4-winged key, the other one says 6-winged key, I was like, oh well, or she goes, maybe you have to, you'll actually just have to combine keys so that they get more wings, and I was like, that's not how keys work. And then that's exactly what happened.
So you then you go on to Donna Benevento. I can't remember the last name. Benevento.
Beneviento.
Beneviento's house.
And this section is completely different.
I hate
In a
it
good way.
So-
much.
It was the best
Oh, the
section in
baby.
the game.
No,
So-
not like in a good way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Redeemed.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
So I would equate this section of the game to being like Resident Evil 7, where it's
Yes.
like the pure horror aspects. You are underpowered. So basically, you enter the house, and the whole shtick of Donna is that she's this crazy lady who can control puppets. In like, but they like not in like a normal marionette way, like in a spooky, scary dolls way.
Creepy, yeah.
And as soon as you enter the house, they strip you of all of your weapons. So you go through this entire section not doing any combat. So it just becomes pure horror puzzle solving. And I thought it was
awesome.
It was really
Yes,
cool.
you get thrown to this basement where there is a life-size marionette meant to look like Ethan's dead wife.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like dismembering it to learn things, and like you're
Like
watching.
finding
Yeah,
things
like
hidden
find
within the
hidden
limbs.
items.
You found like her wedding ring, which makes you think like, how did this get here? Stuff like that. So you're going through,
Not Ethan. Ethan doesn't question it.
and then the baby happens.
Oh, yeah, the baby.
Fuck that baby.
Fuck the baby.
So basically, this baby that's
But it
the
was still
size
cool.
that is like
Ah.
I don't know what it'd have to be like 12 feet long and like 6 feet wide. It was just like weird mutant baby that sounded like your baby from the beginning of the game. It sounds like Rose, and it just starts crawling around chasing you, and it's like, Daddy.
But it's like a It's like a big
And if it
slug.
catches you, it will eat you.
Yeah, it's
I never got caught.
I never got caught.
I also
thank
didn't
God
get
I didn't
caught
get caught.
I
did.
knew. So
It's
here's the
terrifying.
thing. When you're exploring, I don't know if you guys walked into that room with the bed where it prompts you to crawl under the bed. Did you
can
see
hide,
that?
yeah.
Did you see that before the baby?
Yes.
So I also saw that before the baby thing happened. So I was prepared. I'm like, something is going to chase me, and I'm going to have to run back here and hide from it. Because otherwise, like,
Yeah, because a lot
The
of this
button
section
lit-
is
it literally says
Yeah.
hide. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you,
something's there.
I think in the first room, there's like a cabinet.
Yeah, there's
that
a
you
there's
can
a
open,
Oh, I
there's a
didn't.
locker.
was
Oh,
like-
was there?
There's a locker. Yeah, there's like 2
and
lockers.
you just go
and-
in and it closes, and you're like sitting there, and he's like literally doing like heavy breathing, like he's being
Mhm.
chased.
He
And I
does
was
that
like,
in the bed too.
why? Like why? Oh no, something. So then I like sat there for like a couple minutes. Like, is something chasing me, and I don't know. It added like extra dread because I knew it was
You
coming,
knew it
but
was
I didn't
gonna
know
come.
when it was gonna come.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
starts doing all this crazy psychological horror stuff, and I thought this was really, really cool. This is like the
Oh,
only
yeah.
part of the game that like legitimately freaked me out. And
Yeah,
I think it
and
very
I
much
wanted more of
succeeded
it.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we all agree that this part was super awesome.
It was
Eventually,
great.
it
Even
ends
the
with
eventual
you-
showdown with all the dolls around shaking, and you have to find the right one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did like something happen? Because they kept saying like, "Oh, you have to find it quick." Did something
Yeah,
happen if
yeah.
you don't find it?
Yeah,
in
they
time?
just kill
Oh
you.
yeah,
They stab
Oh,
you.
yeah. Like all the other dolls rise up and start stabbing you.
Oh, see, I
Oh,
didn't have that
okay,
happen to me.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
didn't
happened
have that
to
happen
find
either.
it.
I didn't find one time.
I died to it. It wasn't pretty.
And then so like you end up stabbing the main doll with scissors, and then it like hard cuts to you just stabbing Donna in the head, and you
Because I
just
think later on, you were just hallucinating the entire time.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like part of her whole shtick. It's like the manipulation hallucination thing going on.
So she was there. You were just hallucinating the shit out of everything.
Yeah, and it like adds to the larger mystery of it and the kind of fantastical, supernatural like part of the story,
Mhm.
which I thought like this is still really cool. I still don't know what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think after this you get the like either the arms or the legs of Rose from here.
Yeah.
Go back to the village, and then you move on to what's his name's
Moreau.
Salvatore Moreau's section, and then I got the vibe I got from this area was Resident Evil 4, where it's like it's a bit slower paced, and you're looking around, like you're taking things a bit slowly, but you're getting overwhelmed by like enemies at times, and it's like puzzle solving while like a super large monster you have to like not necessarily quick time events, but you need to like time things around this
Yeah,
large
yeah.
monster. So basically you go down to this
Platforming almost.
you go down to this bayou and the fishman actually you get the piece of Rose really early
Oh
on.
my god.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, because you go into he's
You
got
go-
a little laboratory in the mine.
Yeah, and
This
he's
is
like he's just
my
watching a TV.
Least favorite moment in the game.
Why is that?
Because like I always have this problem like subconsciously, and I mean not even subconsciously because I like know it, but like for whatever reason it's always bothered me to no end in shows and games and anything when something like this happens where a protagonist puts themselves in a situation that they absolutely in no fucking world needed to be in, where he could have just grabbed the vial and walked away, but he had to say I'll be taking this, and then of
Yeah.
course the whole section happens.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. I'll give you that. It's just like all you had to do was not say anything, just grab the thing and walk away. But he
Yeah.
says something, and then
But Ethan motherfucking Winters and his dumb goddamn hands.
Moreau is like he's like his archetype of as a character is like, oh, I'm always made fun of. I'm considered weak. Everyone hates me. Why does everyone hate me?
Yeah.
He's just like
Just
weird
want mommy
mutated.
to love me.
Yeah, he's this weird mutated fish man. And then he like, you find out that he could just create this thick algae at will around you. So like that starts
By
blocking off.
vomiting.
That starts blocking off exits and whatnot. And then slowly you do this like platforming, like Derek said, and through this swampy like watery area. Which leads to an inevitable boss fight with him,
Yeah.
where
But
he's
doesn't he also like say I'm the best as he dives into the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very weird. He's super. All of these characters, all of the lords are so weird. in like
Yeah.
in the best way. They're all such like unique, strange.
Really,
characters.
I didn't like Moreau at all.
I could take or leave Moreau, honestly.
I loved what they were doing with him being like this, like he has this like confliction in him of like, because yeah, he's like, oh, I'm so weak and dumb, but then he transformed into the big fish
Giant
monster,
fish thing.
and then
Yeah.
he has the line where he's like, I'm the best, I'm gonna prove to mama. It's like
Yeah.
it was so funny.
It was a nice deviation from the classical like overly confident supernatural being.
Yeah, this
So-
was like the campy Resident Evil 4
Yeah.
stuff, which I loved.
So one of the things I couldn't figure out was he the creator of the, because this in his lab is the first time I think you encounter the Cado.
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Is he the
Cado?
creator of the Cado, or was he
I
part
think he
like
was just doing part of the research of it.
he was
I
just
think it was
doing part of the research?
him
Okay.
and Heisenberg.
Yeah, at this point you're starting to see all these notes hidden throughout, like referencing how
Yeah.
how Miranda's creating these creatures
Yeah.
by infecting them with these weird fish-like entities,
hmm
which are all somehow
No,
mold
or
related.
something.
So yeah, you end up killing Moreau in a boss battle that feels like a Resident Evil 4 style boss battle. Then you go
Yeah,
back
run
to the
around
village,
and shoot him.
and on your way back to the village, Heisenberg starts like talking to you like through telepathy or something, or like a megaphone. I don't
Yeah.
know. And he's
TV.
like,
Magnets.
Yeah, I literally think it's through like
It's
TV
Morrow's TV.
signals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he starts with the TV. I think it's literally through radio waves,
that's
TV
right.
waves.
I forgot about Moreau's TV. So you start
Yeah.
talking to you through that. And then he like puts up signs everywhere that says, "Come this way, Ethan. Come here." And then you end up getting.
He invites you to go into the lair of the lichens and go take
Yes.
back the last piece of your daughter.
So you do this like pseudo level. It's like wasn't quite a full level, but yeah, you go to the layer of the lichens. You end up killing this like one big lichen, which is we thought Chris Redfield was this lichen the whole time
Yeah.
from all
yeah,
the
that's
promotional
right.
stuff, because like the box art has like it's half Chris and then half this lichen monster. Ended up not being Chris Redfield. It was just a giant lichen monster. You kill him. You got the last piece of rose, and then. So what happens next?
Oh, we
Do you-
forgot something.
What do we forget?
Right before Moreau's fight, you run into Chris again.
Oh yeah.
That's right. So yeah, Chris Redfield's here, and he's basically like, Ethan, go away. You're in over your head.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to leave. Just stop.
Like he won't tell you what's going on. He's just like, you shouldn't be here. Go away.
Yeah.
He's there with like his full team, so something weird is going on.
hmm
That-
And there are secret areas
Yeah.
that you can run into, or like the church in the beginning you run into. Like you find a bunch of him and his team's equipment and can read some of
Yeah.
their logs and whatnot. So Chris Redfield is out and about doing things here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you killed. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say another thing I think we forgot that is more pertinent to what you're about to talk about is the reason Rose is in pieces is for a ceremony. And everyone is supposed to come to the ceremony with their pieces, and then you end up taking them all.
Yeah, and then end
And-
up going to the ceremony anyways.
Yeah, Heisenberg is like, get the pieces, go to the ceremony.
Yes. So once you kill the head lichen and get all the pieces of rose, you go to the ceremony thing. You put the pieces in the pedestal, right? And then you go to Heisenberg's like, come to my factory.
Yeah.
And basically, you go to Heisenberg's factory and you run into him immediately, and he tries to be like, hey, we should join forces and kill Miranda because she sucks and I want to be free of her. And then I can take over the world. And I feel like there could have been a world where they could have went with this route of like Ethan teaming up with Heisenberg, which could have been interesting. But in classic Ethan Winter fashion, it's just like straight up like, no, you could go to hell. Give me my daughter.
Eat shit.
So then he kicks you all the way down to the
What?
bottom.
Who
of
is
his-
it? Is it? It's the big werewolf, right? Where he kills it and then he goes, "Eat shit."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This super climactic fight, and he goes, "Eat shit." I literally burst out laughing.
It's so good.
I was like, I burst out laughing because of how ridiculous it
oh, I
was.
know. I love it so much.
Because of how much it took me then away from the thing I just did.
I
I was like, how could such a fun and challenging boss fight be ruined by fucking Ethan? And they did it.
so you then proceed to go through all of Heisenberg's factory. In this area, this was like a combination of Resident this was more Resident Evil 4 stuff for me. It's like the later parts of Resident Evil 4. I felt like you had those monsters with a thing in their chest, which was similar to the ones in Resident Evil 4 where you had to like snipe them in the specific spot.
Yeah. Yep.
Stuff like that. It felt a lot more like Resident Evil 4 here.
Yeah, because these are all of Heisenberg's amped up
Creation.
half machine army.
And you can read all his notes about how he's trying to like convert them into like machine zombie things. So that was pretty fun. And then you get to the end and you run into Chris again, I believe, right?
Well, first you run into the big fan guy,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a guy.
yeah.
Turbine Man.
He's just a torso with legs, and then his head is like a jet engine, like turbine, or it's more.
I
like
would
it's
say
a
it's
propeller.
more like he's a jet
It's a
engine
propeller,
with legs.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a propeller. And then there's like a note somewhere where Heisenberg's talking about creating them. And he's like, the idiot cut his arms off immediately
Yeah.
by sticking them into his own propeller head. So yeah, he's like a mini boss fight. He's been like, he chases
Yeah.
you around in some parts of this area.
That area stressed me out a lot because I felt like I never knew like what I was supposed to do. Because I missed like a briefcase or something. So I was wandering around that area for like a solid half hour, just running into these fucking guys, and I'm like, how many of these are there?
Yeah.
I was over it.
At the
It's-
end, you run into like a lot of extra dudes for sure.
And
Yeah,
I think
I
this
think
is
I
the
think it goes on for way too long.
one area where you actually do have to like specifically backtrack to a floor earlier on,
Yep.
which you might not like if you didn't remember that like you needed a certain key to unlock a door on floor 1 or something. You would like might be like, wait, what am I supposed to do now or whatever.
Yeah, I did not have that map memorized very well, so I did spend a lot of time running around.
Yeah,
trying
I
to get my
was
bearings.
wandering. a
Right,
lot.
then you go back down and then it's dark and you start running into them again.
Yeah. So you eventually run into Chris again, and then Chris is like, "All right, here's what's up.
Yeah, let me actually tell you now.
We gotta kill everyone. Mother Miranda's crazy. We're here to kill her.
Well, this is this not where he tells you that the Mia that he killed was not his wife Mia, but
yes,
Mother
it was
Miranda in
Miranda.
disguise?
we
Yeah.
get this big reveal. So Ethan,
Which I was
yeah.
like, of course it was.
So yeah, so I had the question when they revealed this is like, so at what point did Mother Miranda swap with Mia? Was it after they had the kid, or is that technically
It must
I
have
had
been
the same
yeah, I
question,
don't
Jeff.
is that Mother
must have
Miranda's
been
kid?
Who knows?
I think it was after. They never explain it, but I feel like that's something they would have told you.
I think so. I felt that way too, Jeff.
But so it might be Mother Miranda and Ethan's kid. It might just still be Ethan and Mia's kid. I don't know. But
Way more questions,
Uh,
but we'll get there.
yeah, so I think it's also revealed here that the big plot is Mother Miranda's trying to. Someone in chat just pointed this out. So Mother Miranda's trying to revive her own child by using Rose in this grand ceremony to bring back
Yes.
her
Yeah,
own
we
child.
start learning about.
I did not remember that because at this point in the game, I was over it. I was so done. I was just like,
Yeah, we've started
This is
learning
like-
about the mold, which is like the source of all the craziness.
Which the mold is from Resident Evil 7. That was like the
Yeah.
whole
so
basis.
it
and, like,
originated
and-
here.
But it originated here.
and Evelyn, which was like that ended up being the weird main villain in Resident Evil 7,
Mhm.
was like a byproduct of Mother Miranda trying to bring back her daughter,
Yeah.
which I think her name's just Eve or something like that.
Eve, yeah,
Yeah.
her name's Eve.
And
Um,
I don't know if you guys read this note. The founder of Umbrella, this is where he got
Yeah.
all the ideas, was from when he met Mother
Yes,
Miranda. So
which
it
is-
kind of is all finally come full
It comes-
circle
yeah,
in
which
this game.
I can't
You see the
decide
umbrella
whether
logo everywhere,
I
and he decides
love it
to-
or hate it.
He decided
Yeah.
to name the Umbrella Corporation after this like logo that he sees in this
Right?
Romanian village. So it's like I'm like, okay, they're doing it. They're connecting it all. This is so cool.
See, I just don't think they needed to connect it.
But they
I
did.
feel like it's
think
just
it
so
works.
arbitrarily in there.
I don't know. I
But
thought
also, Resident Evil has never made any sense, so I don't know how to feel.
exactly. So Chris Redfield's like, all right, Ethan, I trust you now. Get in this tank thing that we made and go fight Heisenberg, who's now this giant metal monster.
Yeah, another thing. Same thing as Lady Dimitrescu. I was like, why? Just let me fight a man.
Yeah, I felt
you don't
like the
fight men in
Heisenberg
Resident Evil.
fight. The Heisenberg fight would have been way more interactive had it been like just his body, like him controlling metal
throwing
and throwing
metal
it at you
around.
and shit.
Yeah,
And having his hammer.
especially since like Lady Dimitrescu, I give kind of a pass because she is already like a freak of nature. Like she's this 9.5 foot tall, fucking sexy vampire. But Heisenberg's just a guy, right? Like he just a dude with a big hammer, and he can control
And-
metal.
Yeah, and he has Magneto powers.
Yeah, so like up until that point, like I feel like the way that Heisenberg's character was portrayed, he like wouldn't have transformed in the first place. At least that was just my read on it. So I felt like it was just there for the sake of being this big boss fight that Resident Evil loves to do.
Yeah. That's I kind of had a similar vibe to it. It's like, all right, you didn't need to do this, but like, of course you did. You're
It was
Resident
fun.
Evil.
But it was
Right.
fun.
It had to be a spectacle.
The execution itself of the fight was still
Oh,
a
it
fun
was, it
fight.
was really fun, like driving
Yeah.
that tank around, shooting him while he's talking shit. This is where we get the line where Heisenberg says about Chris Redfield, that boulder punching asshole, which I don't.
Did he say that?
That is a line he actually says, and it's a reference to Resident Evil 5.
To 5.
And I didn't. So this was a huge meme for me and my friends, and I didn't realize that anyone else like picked up on this and made it such a big thing. At the end of Resident Evil 5, in the final boss fight against Wesker, there is a quick time event.
Spoilers?
You're fighting in a volcano, and these boulders start falling, and it's a quick time event where you have to mash a button. He's like, catches the boulder, and he's holding it, and he's like trying to push it back, and all of a sudden, he just starts uppercutting a boulder. I swear to God, you have to look up a clip of this. Chris Redfield just starts punching this boulder that's like 6 times the size of him, and I don't remember if it explodes or he just like punches it off to the side. And I was just, my friends and I, when we were in high school, were like, this is the dumbest and greatest thing that has ever happened in any video game ever. And like to this day, Nick Vanaco and I still were like, oh, we're uppercutting boulders. And Heisenberg calls Chris Redfield a boulder punching asshole, and I lost my mind. And that's the moment where I was like, this is the best Resident Evil game. It's like hitting all of the highs of all the other great Resident Evil games, and it's like recognizing how stupid but amazing the history of this franchise is, and I was all in at that point. As soon as he's like made the boulder punching comment, but you end up defeating Heisenberg, and then Mother Miranda shows up
and kills you.
and kills Ethan. Like there's like a little bit of a fight scene with her, right? But like it's unwinnable.
And then she straight up rips his heart out.
We
bye,
lost Derek.
Nope, we lost Derek.
Derek's
No,
back.
there he is.
Yeah, so like she stabs him and full on rips out Ethan's heart.
And that was shocking enough. Like, oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, he's just gonna survive this. You know, it's Ethan.
I was at that point. I was like, all right, this is it, right? There's no way he comes back from this one. I don't care what kind of voodoo magic goo bullshit that you can put on your fucking heart. There's no way, right? Then sure enough, like an hour later,
But we're getting ahead
here
of
comes
ourselves.
Ethan.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Jose just put in chat the video of Chris Redfield
Dude,
punching boulders.
I had to
I
mute
put it in
because
the
I was
chat.
losing it so
oh no, he
badly.
put it in the Twitch chat.
Oh, the stream chat.
Isn't
I
it-
put
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a stream
Discord.
chat.
Isn't it
But
incredible?
Andrew, you're getting ahead of yourself because
Yeah.
next what we get is
We go
one of the coolest sequences.
Yeah. I just had to finish my thought.
Okay,
I
we
know.
go full Resident Evil 6 where it's just like an action game and you're playing as Chris Redfield and you're going through the village while like the mold is freaking out and like taking over the village, and you have an insane assault rifle, you have this stupidly powerful pistol, you have
You are
this crazy
kitted out.
knife, and like you just have basically infinite ammo. You can
Yeah.
run out, but like they just
Yeah.
put it everywhere. And it's just like of Resident Evil 6 full-on action sequence. You like fight hundreds and hundreds of Lycans, and you're pointing this laser at this big mold that's like taken over the village, and you're just like, okay, we're going full Chris Redfield badass like commando moment. And like I was like, this game, man, this is so cool. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I was loving it.
I thought it was
was a fun
definitely
sequence.
a cool sequence, but at this point I was questioning why anything was happening.
I thought it was just cool because it's your moment in the game where, okay, for a second we're gonna forget this is survival horror. Here's all these bullets. Just go have fun.
But
Yeah.
I was also thinking, oh, it's gonna let us, finish the game as Chris Redfield, because that schlump Ethan is gone. But then fucking goddamn it.
So hold on, Chris does his objective of blowing up the mold thing, right?
I
That
don't
was,
even
his big
remember
goal.
it.
It's called the Mega Mycete. It's like the source of all this.
Yeah, so this is the
And
source of all the mold.
we've kind of like
whatnot.
fully put the picture together that the mold retains the information of whatever it devours.
Mhm.
So Miranda's trying to actually bring back her daughter because it's
Using
heavily
the
implied she
mold.
must have fed her dead daughter to this mold
Yeah.
to then bring her back later.
So, Chris completes his objective of like destroying that big mold thing, and then cut to.
But we also find out Mia's alive.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chris finds Mia.
because there she was.
Mia was actually alive. She was kidnapped by Mother Miranda when they did the swap. So Mia's alive. Chris takes Mia and is like, "All right, we got to get out of here."
Oh, and by the way, your husband's dead.
Oh yeah, and your husband's dead. And she's like,
No, he's not.
Are you sure?
She goes, and she literally says, "My husband is very special.
Yeah.
You don't know just how special he is."
Cut to.
Which is like, they have to be aware of how intentionally bad that is.
I
right?
know, it's so good. They're so
Like,
aware. That's what
Is
makes
that
it
so
so
good
great.
though?
Yeah.
That's what makes it so
No, it's
great.
great.
Because they're aware of how bad it is. So then you cut to you're Ethan again, and you're waking up, and Mother Miranda is like standing there, and she has your heart, or like the Duke comes and gets you, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
this was one of my favorite parts of the whole game, where he's like, Ethan's like to the Duke, he's like, "Who even are you?" And he's like, "Even I don't know that." And the Duke just like straight up admits, like, they fully commit to like, no one knows what the fuck the Duke is. Not even the Duke. He's just this dude. Oh man, it's incredible.
And then here's like we get the reason for why Ethan
So,
can
yeah.
stick his hand back on.
We learn the big information that Ethan died at the very beginning of Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
And that this character that we've been playing as through the two games is just mold,
That thinks it's Ethan.
which makes everything that's happened, all of the stuff of him regenerating, it makes all of that make sense. And it makes sense that he's this bland, boring, dumb protagonist because he's literally, he's just mold.
Mold.
He's mold pretending to be a person.
Okay, but
Mold
if
brain.
it absorbs their personalities, then wasn't that just what Ethan was like before?
Does it absorb the personalities, or is it just
Isn't
trying
that
to
what they
mimic?
just said?
It absorbs their consciousness, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, this
Yeah.
is just Ethan. He just didn't know he was mold.
And so, okay, follow-up question. If he was just mold the whole time, how did he reproduce?
Mold baby?
And
yeah,
that's what
right.
makes Rose so special. She's half
Rose
mold.
is
Yeah.
special. She's a mold baby.
Yeah. And plus, Mia was infected with the mold at one point. So
is
Yeah.
she mold?
she's got weird stuff going on. I think she took the injection. The canonical ending is that she got the injection. and
So
got
what
rid of
is
the
he?
mold.
Does he jizz mold? Like, what is happening here?
Maybe.
That's-
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Right?
Maybe
Oh
we're
my
going to learn
God.
about it in Resident Evil 9. So we learned that Ethan is actually just mold the whole time. And then you have your big fight with Mother Miranda.
Yeah, really awesome boss fight though.
It was really
Yeah,
cool.
that was
so
cool.
So you know how at the end of the boss fight, she like pins you down, and it's like there's just a button that says attack.
Uh-huh.
My game would not let me do anything. I was pushing all of my buttons and nothing happened, and she killed me. So I had to do the whole fight again, and I was really mad about it. I was like,
That sucks.
I'm 90% sure that was the end of the fight. But the next time I went in, I went way more aggro, and I was staying back, and I was like using the shot or the sniper and stuff like that. And whereas this, like after that happened, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna run into the shotgun and see what happens, and like I killed her much faster, and I was like, oh okay, I could have done this much smoother than I did in the past. But yeah, so you kill Mother Miranda. Chris shows up, and he's like, dude, we gotta go. And Ethan's like, nah, I'm not making it. I don't have a heart right now. I don't know what I like. So he like, Chris had set explosives up everywhere to blow everything up. And so he basically came down to get Ethan, and Ethan's like, no. So he like does this thing where he basically shuts himself off from Chris, and like so Chris runs and leaves with Mia, and they're up in a helicopter.
Rose.
But they also
With
showed the
Yeah.
cutscene of them like Chris and Ethan walking away from the site that like switched from first person to like an actual cutscene where
and
it
they
shows
just couldn't
both of
see
them,
Ethan's face.
but they frame it so that you can never see Ethan's face
yeah, which is
for
just, like,
some reason.
it's just part of the gimmick. They never wanted Ethan to
But
have
why?
And
Because he's
the-
mold.
because
Yes.
he's mold. But yeah,
And,
I
and the
forgot-
entire time this is going on, you can
You're
see
telling me
Ethan's-
the whole time is just a fucking mold face? Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
At the
and
end
it
of the fight with Miranda, Rose like pops up out of the ground
Oh, yeah.
as a full baby, so that is good to know.
like,
So
she's back.
so Ethan hands Rose to Chris and says like, leave, I'm gonna blow this bitch up.
Because I don't know if we mentioned it because I kind of got lost in the craziness of us discussing Ethan as mold, but it should be noted that all the mold is crumbling, and so is Ethan because he is part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Ethan realized like I'm not making it out of this.
yeah. So he gives Rose to Chris.
so
Chris
if he
goes
has
up
a
in the
mold
helicopter
baby, why didn't the baby disintegrate too?
because she's
She's
not
part
part of the
human.
mold. Yeah, she's half human.
Yeah.
So Chris is in the helicopter, gives Rose to Mia, and Mia's like, "Where's Ethan?" And he's like, "He ain't gonna make it." And then she's like, "Where's Ethan?" And then the village explodes, and Ethan pushed the button, and the whole thing goes up in flames. And then Chris Redfield's like, "Somebody has to pay for this," and you're like, "Resident Evil 9, let's go."
9, yes, very
Yeah.
heavy tie-ins for 9.
So yeah, and then that's the
Or
end of the
trilogy.
game.
I mean, if that wasn't an indication for 9, then the post-credit scene definitely is.
Then
Mhm.
Yeah.
we get the post-credit scene. It is in the future, and
Many years in the
there's
future.
this girl, and she goes up to a grave, and we find out that girl is Rose, and she's like probably like 18 or somewhere in that age range.
No, like 15.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the feeling of like college
Yeah.
age.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
she was college
I got the
age
feeling
too.
she was like older.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like no, maybe.
Yeah. She like yeah. I also got the vibe of college age. And then some dude pulls up in a black Escalade and is like, "Get in here, dummy," or something.
She calls her Evelyn.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely
he
calls her
calls her
Evelyn,
Evelyn.
and she gets super pissed off.
She gets super pissed.
It's like she hints that she has some kind of supernatural ability.
Yeah, she's like,
Well,
because
because that's what they revealed that
I'm a very
before
special
at
girl
some point
or
that
something.
that Evelyn or that Rose is a reincarnation of Evelyn from 7, and that she's like super powerful, and that's why everyone wanted her.
I don't know if
Right.
she's a reincarnation of Evelyn, but she's basically like has the same powers while also being half human. She's like a similar entity. I don't think she's specifically supposed to be Evelyn.
Yeah, she's a mold baby.
She's a mold baby. So we get this dual setup. So anyways, they drive away in the Escalade, and it's this like really long lingering shot as the Escalade's driving off into the distance. I don't know if it's an Escalade. It's some sort of SUV. I didn't see this, but Andrew had pointed out to me there was like of someone walking alongside the car,
Yeah.
and people hacked into the game and like punched in the camera, and apparently that's Ethan.
Yep.
So whether that's a nod
Whoa.
or like canonical, but like at the end of the game it says the father's story has concluded,
Right, yeah.
which is
So
really
that's
important.
it's definitely tying in that it's probably Rose we're playing at in 9.
So here's my thing. There's two paths that we can have, or it could be both. Because Resident Evil 5 was a co-op game where you played as one person was Chris and one person was Sheva, and that game was hella fun to play in co-op. Option 1, you are on Chris Redfield. You are playing as Chris Redfield on like a revenge mission through whatever, like to try to avenge Ethan and take down Umbrella or take down something. 2, and this is where it gets really interesting. You could be playing as Rose, and then they can start like giving you supernatural powers, and then like it's like you're not just using guns. Like imagine a Resident Evil where you have superpowers of some kind.
That'd be kind of fun. That'd
Could
be really
be
fun.
interesting. Could be terrible. I have no idea.
I think they're definitely playing at Rose being the next protagonist.
Yeah, I could easily see it being both though, because when Chris is like, "We need to get revenge," my immediate thought was like, "Oh, we're playing as Chris in Resident Evil 9."
Well, they also hint that Chris is training Rose.
Yeah, I think they said something about like
At
oh, we
least
gotta go meet Chris.
supervising.
Yeah. Or it could be one where like you're switching off between the two of them. Like you do like a certain part of the game as Rose, and then like you go and do whatever Chris is doing, and then go back.
Yeah, well, we get to go see what Chris is up to. Then it pans back to Rose's
There's
story.
options. But then that's the end of the game. And
This game was a wild ride. So
yeah, I loved it.
It was
I loved
so good.
absolutely everything that it did. It knew it was dumb and campy, and I was all about it. The gameplay I thought was really solid. It was like a cross between 7 and 4, and I think it nailed it throughout the whole thing for sure. I don't know. I thought the pacing of the game was incredible. Like there was never a moment where I was bored. It would go from exploration to like looting to combat. And anytime I felt like, oh man, I've had enough of doing this particular thing, it would shift into the next part of its cycle. And like, yeah. And having all the different types of gameplay styles throughout the game kept it fresh and interesting throughout the whole thing.
I agree with that up until the third area of the game. After that, I feel like it tapered off, and especially during Heisenberg's factory, that was when I was like, "This is taking too long. Can we please get on with this? I don't want to fight all these dudes."
Yeah, I never found. I thought I agree with Joe. I think it was extremely
Who's Joe?
well paced. I said Joe. I said Joe.
You're somewhere between Jeff and Joe.
Joe. Yeah, no, I thought it was very, very well paced, and I felt like you almost could get through an area in one sitting. And
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah,
kind of every area felt like a good stopping point to say, all right, yeah, I'll put this down and I'll pick it up next time, and or whatever. I don't think I had really any criticisms with the game. I think everything about it is very well done.
Yeah, right? It's just like, it's the perfect amount. Like, I feel like it took me just shy of 10 hours to beat, and I feel like maybe I could have gone like a couple more, but I feel like if it went a couple more, if it went like 3 or 4 more hours, it might have overstayed its welcome. Like, I felt like it like was just the right amount of game, and it was hopping from its different play styles at just the right amount of time. Like, it wasn't lingering on anything too long, and it just kept going to the next thing, and it kept me engaged the whole time.
Yeah, the pacing was very, very good overall. Like you said earlier, Jeff, I did not feel like bored at any point during the entire time I was playing. Like once I was mentally checked out with the main hub area, the village, I was like, all right, let's go to the next area. And then it was just something completely fresh and new. Like going from the castle to House Beneviento to then the flooded like windmill district to then going to Heisenberg's area. Everything felt like it felt linear, but it wasn't linear in a boring way. It was very dynamic the entire time.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
The only thing that I did not like was that in the middle where you get to Moreau's area, that felt too short. For me, that felt way too short.
I think it felt short because there wasn't a lot of combat there. If you look back on it,
it was just like running around.
There was a lot of running from A to B to get the thing, to unlock the thing, to progress forward. So yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the weakest area of the 4 for me as well.
For sure.
And I think another awesome thing about this game is the replayability. I know people are already speedrunning it and beating it in like 2 hours. So like the speedrunning community is loving this game, but even just as like a player going through it a second time, and then like Resident Evil's always had this where after you beat it the first time, you unlock new difficulty modes, but you also unlock cool little secrets. Like classically in Resident Evil 4, you can unlock an infinite rocket launcher, and just playing through the game with an infinite rocket launcher is hella fun. I was telling Andrew today, he didn't know this. I don't know if you guys know this. There's a lightsaber in this game.
Mercenaries Mode.
If you get an S rank in every mercenary mode, you can then unlock it so that in the main game you can get a lightsaber and just run through cutting everyone up with a lightsaber, which is just like, that's so fun. And I don't know if any of you played the Mercenaries mode. I played the first level. I ran it like 2 or 3 times. And if I had more time, I would definitely sink a bunch of time into it because it's just about like perfecting a run. It's the same, like you go into a level and it does the same thing every time. But it introduces this thing where there's like power-ups on the map, and you pick a power-up and then you can pick between one of 3 things. Like it could be like, oh, your shotguns do more damage, or you run faster if you have your knife out, or you steadily regain health, or your headshots do more damage. So like there's so many different options. So like you're like kind of making a build, and then you're like plotting out like, okay, I need to go on this path, and you need to like if you kill people and successively, you create combos and you get more points, and then if you have more money at the end, you get more points.
Right.
And then so basically you're trying to get a high score, and it's about like plotting out the correct path and like what you want to do. And at the beginning of every level, the Duke's there, and you get a set amount of money, and then you can buy stuff you want and sell some stuff to get more money. It's pretty fun. And then you unlock cool rewards as you get high scores on the levels. I know there's like you can get like an insane magnum. You can unlock all of Chris's weapons to use in the main campaign. So there's just like a ton of replayability, and like that's the other thing about the game being so well paced and like not too long that I could easily see myself playing through this game again on a higher difficulty with like cooler weapons. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they nailed this. This is hands down my favorite Resident Evil game. I don't know how you all feel about that.
Yeah. I've only played 2, so of the 2, this is my favorite. But
Yeah.
it makes me want to go and play 7. So it's on my Steam wish list right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I gotta sit down and play through 4, 5, 6, and 7. I have them. I have them installed. I just haven't pressed play yet and started playing. But Resident Evil 2 remake and 3 remake were great. I'm like an in between whether I like Resident Evil Village more than 2 remake.
2 remake is also very good. I just
very good.
I liked the pacing of this and how it like does so many different things, and it does it all so well.
Yeah.
So like 2 is its own thing, and it does that one thing super great.
Right.
So I just think I like the variety here more, but like I would totally respect anyone who's like, oh yeah, 2 remake is my favorite Resident Evil.
I
That
feel like
game's
if
incredible.
I feel like if I had played the other games first before playing Village would probably be my favorite because it just nods to all of those older games, and it hits the best of each from what I've heard from
Yeah.
you guys.
What are your thoughts, Derek? Because you've played a bunch of Resident Evil recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the first person perspective. It is like its own thing, and I think 7 did a good job introducing it and kind of did its own things very well. I know like the end of 7 is where it's more criticized with its weird ship part. And that's
It's
what
actually the middle of it if you think about it.
Yeah, right. It's actually the middle of it. But like, so yeah, this is where like, I guess when you think about it, that game was badly, like the pacing was bad. Whereas this game, they like, imagine if you took the Chris part and put it right in the middle of the game. Like that's how that game felt. And like this game, it's just, yeah, I don't, there's something to say
Except
about,
then make the Chris part not fun.
yeah. There's just something to say about a well-paced game. I think the more I play the Resident Evil series, the more I get a vibe for what these, like, the developers have been trying to do with these types of games. I know I brought it up before, where like each game kind of has its references to the style of horror at the time. I think Ethan's character, his ineptitude, his dumbness, the fact that you want to like punch him in the head as the player,
slice his own hand off and then punch him in the face with it.
yeah, is like,
And they'll just reattach it.
just
Yeah, and then I'll slice it off again.
he's not a badly written character. He's written to be this bad, dumb character.
Because he was mold the whole time.
Right, like
That doesn't excuse it. That's not
I
an
know,
explain.
but I like, if I don't know, playing through 1, playing through 2, playing through 4, the writing has always been campy and bad, but it's for the benefit of the games,
Like-
and I think
I love to point to the Leon Kennedy line of at the end of that like opening scene in the village, like, and he just like the camera zooms out. He's like, "Where did everybody go? Bingo." It's like you can't tell me that that's not as dumb as Ethan telling the thing to eat shit after he kills it. You know,
What is
it's arguably
the
worse.
president's daughter's ballistic missiles?
Oh yeah, she's carrying heavy ballistics or something. It's like
Yeah, like
this isn't new to Resident Evil.
This campy dumbness isn't new, and Ethan's character is just done in a different dumb way. Where I don't know. I like to think of bad horror movies from our time. Definitely have the like, what's going on? What is happening? Like, eat shit, dumb piss. You know, like that kind of stupid stuff. And I don't know. I agree he is a dumb character, but I love the dumbness of his character. I've liked the dumbness of his character the whole time. And I'm really interested to see where they go with the series.
Yeah, I'm super interested in what they're gonna do with 9, because it could be we have a Last Jedi on our hands with Resident Evil 8, where it sets up 9 to be something special. Whether or not they execute on it, we'll have to wait and see.
Right?
Winter is coming.
No.
Oh, dear God.
No.
I also thought that the guy at the end in the post-credit scene was Leon, but it definitely isn't.
Definitely.
But
not
I was
him.
like, oh shit, it's Leon.
Dude, I want Resident Evil 9 to be like the Avengers of Resident Evil, or like the Avengers Endgame, and just like bring back Claire, bring back Chris, bring back Leon, bring back Jill, like bring back all of the stars.
Bring back Tofu.
Bring back
Isn't
Tofu, bring back Hunk, bring back
What
Sheva.
6 was supposed to be?
I never played through all of 6, so I know you play as Chris, and I think you switch between Chris and Leon.
There's
in
like
6.
3 different characters you play as, I think, in that game.
Oh, is it 3? I thought it was just
Yeah.
Chris and Leon, but maybe you're right.
I think Jill might be the 3rd that you
Is
play
it?
as. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. Derek.
I'm excited. This game makes me want to play more Resident Evil, and I'm like, all right, I gotta finish 2. I gotta play 3. I gotta play 5. I gotta play 6. I gotta play Revelations 2. Like, I want to see if there actually all is a story here that 8 makes it seem like there kind of is, that they're trying to tie all together. So, yeah.
It makes it seem like that, yeah.
Right? It makes it seem like there's something there.
So I finished my review for this game. If you want to read that, like my fully fleshed out, cohesive thoughts, you can find that on thegamesharks.com. See what I gave it out of 5. I think you can probably guess by how highly I've been speaking of it. I gave it a 5. This game's a 5 out of 5. What would you guys give it out of 5?
I'll agree on a 5.
Yeah. What about you, Jose? What would you give this game out of 5?
4.5.
Okay.
That's no. Not allowed.
That's not allowed?
Technically,
Four,
on
then.
Game Sharks, we don't have 0.5s.
4.
What do you got, Derek?
I think I would give it a 5.
I know Andrew gave it a 3. Has this conversation?
I would give it a 3 still.
Wow, this conversation didn't push it up for you?
No.
Oh, man.
It makes me feel like you guys are just like ignoring the stuff that I dislike about it to like, I guess.
So you like
feel
but
better
like
about
the
it.
conversations we've had outside of the podcast, it's like your only complaints are story stuff, and you like the gameplay for the most part, except for like some
I
of the
do
later
like
parts.
the gameplay. So most of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
My
it was- I thought it was all fun.
my big problem with this is like this is very clearly like in some way a culmination of the series thus far, and it does feature a lot of nods and references and love to the previous games. Like you said, my problem is I have not played a lot of those games in which they are referencing, and I've only played the most modern versions of things like 2 and 3, which I think like not erase the past of the series, but like it's presented in a way that makes it like I think it feels different than like how it was perceived in the 90s, right? Like the 2 and 3 remakes are they like look good, they play good, the dialogue is bad and campy, yeah, but like not aggressively so like it is in this. And so my problem with with this mostly was like, this is like one of the most beautiful games that's ever been created aesthetically. Like the RE engine is insane, right? And then you, it's like the
So-
entire time I feel like the game, like everybody around Ethan was taking it seriously, and then Ethan exists, and like the way that everything happens just took me out of it.
So my read here is that like in the original Resident Evil games, the developers took it all very seriously, and like I feel like they don't take it very seriously. At least in 8, they're not taking it seriously. They're intentionally being campy and dumb and making comments like the boulder punching asshole or the eat shit, and I feel like that's not sitting well with you. And you would rather have Resident Evil be what Resident Evil 2 and remake and 3 remake were, where it was like a more serious tone throughout.
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. I love this campy bullshit. So, as someone who myself mashed X to uppercut some boulders, I love this game. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the trivia for Resident Evil 8, and we'll see how you guys do with this.
All right,
Are you guys ready?
let's do this.
Let me
Yep.
write down. We got Adam, we got Andrew, we got Derek, and we got Jose. All right. Question number 1. What is the currency in Resident Evil 8 called?
Oh my god.
We were talking about it earlier, and I intentionally said the word money instead of what it actually is. Too. I
Wow,
managed
look at
to.
you.
I managed to dodge a couple of my trivia questions by talking around it and using different words, or just ignoring certain things. Adam, you seem like you don't remember, so we're gonna have you go first. What was the currency in Resident Evil 8 called?
I should remember this.
Yeah, you should.
I put it down a few weeks ago. That's the perfect question. It's like such something minor that you could just easily forget.
You look at it probably like once every 10 minutes. Actually, quicker than that because you're picking it up off the ground and it says the word on the screen as you're picking it up. You see it throughout the entire game.
Oh my god, I can't remember.
You gotta give me a guess.
Dollars. That I can just give you some.
What do you got?
Like I said, I can't remember.
What's your guess, Jose?
Lay.
Derek?
I said shillings.
Andrew?
I couldn't
lei.
remember.
It
Yeah.
is lei. So Jose gets a point, and
Wow, I can't-
Andrew gets a point.
Can't believe I forgot that.
LEI. All right, question number 2. What materials are needed to craft a first aid med in this game? So that's the goo that you pour on yourself to heal. So yeah, there's 2. I guess that was a hint because I didn't specifically say that. But yeah, there's two ingredients that you need to craft a first aid med. What are those 2 ingredients? We're gonna have Derek go first here.
It's chem fluid plus an herb.
Adam?
I said an herb and a fluid. I don't remember what it was called.
Andrew?
Yeah, herb plus chem fluid.
Jose?
Urban chem fluid.
All right, that's a point for everybody. Good
I
job.
knew it was the herb because I remember specifically thinking, "Oh, this reminds me of 4."
Yeah, herbs are a staple throughout all of Resident Evil as the main thing that heals.
Is this the only game where you can't heal yourself with just an herb?
Could you not do it in 7?
You
I don't
couldn't do it in
remember.
7.
You couldn't do it in 7 either? Okay. I couldn't remember.
All right, question number 3. What is the name of the magnum that you get? So there's like a series of letters and numbers before. I'll give you an extra point if you can get that because that'll be really impressive. But I'm more so looking for like the word or like the name of it after the series of numbers and letters. So yeah, what was the name of the magnum? Bonus point if you can give me its like gun serial code. I don't know what those are. Adam, we're gonna have you go first here.
Yeah, I know this might not be the same one you get, but there is one called the Wolfsbane.
All right,
Okay.
I was gonna say that.
Derek,
I had Wolfsbane.
what did you got, Jose?
Yeah, I had a Wolfsbane as well.
Andrew,
I don't think it's correct, but I'm also gonna say Wolfsbane, and I'm gonna say M1850.
oh, it's M1851.
Oh.
You gotta be fucking kidding me! Goddamn fucking Ethan Winters! Oh.
But you're all right. It is the Wolfsbane.
Is Wolfsbane?
There is another. There's like an old timey Magnum that you can get as like a secret weapon later on. But the one that you get during the main campaign, it was like Moreau's secret.
Moreau's
weapon.
treasure.
Yeah.
I saw it on
was
the-
right.
Yeah, it's
What's that?
Wolfsbane.
I said Wolfsbane was right.
Wolfsbane was
Yeah.
right.
Huh.
All right.
I was convinced that it wasn't.
Question number 4. I've gone back and forth on if it's like a 1 point for each answer thing, but I think I'm going to have it be you get 1 point, but you have to get all 3 of the things. What are the name of the 3 daughters of Lady Dimitrescu?
Oh god.
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask this question.
I forgot to go look this up because I knew this was going to be there.
So yeah, there's 3 daughters. You kill them all. They don't like the cold because they're bugs. Let's see. Derek and Adam are still behind, so we're gonna have. Would Derek go first? No, Adam went first. Derek, you're gonna go first on this one, and you have to give me all 3 to get the 1 point.
There's no way.
All right.
Well,
I've got-
hang on. I'll let you guys decide. Would you rather make it so you get 1 point for each, if none of you are confident that you'll get all 3?
I'm not gonna get any.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get all 3.
What do we think?
Well, if it's gonna be 1 point for each, I'm gonna change my answers.
Well, what do you guys want to do? I'm letting you guys make this choice. Whatever you think is better. Don't look at chat.
You said that, and I immediately, hey, I'm gonna look. At
Flame chat. Flame
I
Shadow
didn't
got
see
them
him.
all right. So
Really?
Do not,
Oh.
Jesus.
do not look at chat.
I don't remember any of them, so.
All right. We're gonna do all or nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Derek.
Bianca, Helena, and Sarah. That's the 3 names I came up with.
Oh, Sarah sounds right.
Adam.
I think it's Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra.
Andrew.
Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup.
Jose.
I think it was Bella, Cassandra, and Daniela.
It is Bella, Daniela, and Cassandra. So Adam
Oh,
and
my lord.
Jose get a point.
I knew one of them started with a B. But my guesses were either Bianca or Brittany.
All of them started with a B, if you're me.
Good job, Flame
I
Shadow.
swear to God, I didn't look at Twitch for that. I swear to God.
Yeah, I didn't either.
All right. Last question. You ready for this?
Mhm.
What is Rose's favorite book? The game starts with Mia reading a book to Rose. And she's like, oh, this is Rose's favorite book. And it's doing this like storybook animation about this play, like the story. And it's kind of like telling the story of the game almost, but in a storybook fashion. And then they reference it again at the end because Rose is reading the book on the bus, I believe, in the post-credit scene. So I need to know, what is the name of Rose's favorite book? Derek, you're in last place, so you're going first, bud.
Village of Shadows.
Adam?
Yeah, it was. I didn't remember Shadows, and it was Village of something. So I'm gonna be honest there.
Okay, I
didn't remember the
appreciate your
Shadows part.
honesty. Andrew?
Fahrenheit 451.
Jose?
Village of Shadows.
It was, in fact, the Village of Shadows. I'm going to give you a
I
point for your
remember that.
honesty, Adam, because good guy Adam. But Jose got the perfect score,
Damn.
and therefore Jose wins.
Hey.
A fun fact, Village of Shadows is also the name of the hardest difficulty in the game.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Tiebreaker question would have been, how many goats of warding are there? So the goats of warding are like the standard collectible throughout the game.
18.
17.
19.
48.
Adam wins. It was 20.
Oh okay.
Damn it. I was going
Um,
to say 24.
all right. Congratulations, Jose. You did it.
Hey.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Game Sharks podcast. You can check us out streaming live on Twitch every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern
And
time.
make sure you do, because we might delete the recorded version.
I
Accidentally.
didn't delete it. It got corrupt. It's
We
different.
might lose the recorded version.
You can check out Jose's
Can't
Twitch
pour
stream.
first aid mid
And
on
there goes
that
Jeff
one.
again.
What?
What?
You can check out Jose's Twitch stream at
Jeff cut out for a second on my end.
haywire_j. You stream just about every day, correct, Jose?
Yep.
All right.
Pretty much.
So check him out there. He plays all sorts of games. Big Monster Hunter guy, currently playing Neo 2, I believe. You can check out our website, thegamesharks.com, where you can read my full review of Resident Evil Village. Adam's review of Biomutant is being worked on. His review of, I almost said Snapchat. His review of Pokemon Snap is close
I
to
can give
being
a review
done.
of Snapchat right now. 0 out of 10.
And Derek's review of Returnal is currently in the works. But yeah, I believe with that, we are Finn.